The research on Bass Reeves has not been easy to obtain. One of the first responses I received from a local town historical society in Oklahoma after inquiring about Reeves was, "I'm sorry, we didn't keep black people's history." Due to the discriminatory practices in the 20th century, much African American history was not retained in local towns of the South or Southwest. Information that could be located on Reeves was like a rare jewel. This book is part and parcel of a journey I had been on for the past 20 years, back to the era of the American Wild West. My first book, Black, Red, and Deadly, Black and Indian Gunfighters of the Indian Territory, 1870 to 1907, published in 1991, was the first book to highlight exclusively the exploits of black and Indian outlaws and lawmen of the Western frontier. My inspiration for the book was the story of Deputy U.S. Marshal Bass Reeves. The longest chapter in Black, Red, and Deadly is on Reeves, and initially I felt there wasn't too much more I would be able to research on his career. Numerous people who read my book told me they felt Reeves needed a book of his own. After some trepidation, I decided to see how much more material on Reeves might be available. After realizing that many of his federal criminal court cases were available in the National Archives, I decided that I would be able to use this material as the foundation for a book on Reeves. Further research uncovered more newspaper articles from the Indian Territory and oral stories from individuals in Oklahoma and around the country. In this book, you will find direct testimony from witnesses, defendants, and Reeves himself in various criminal cases. How Reeves made an arrest is often not apparent in the criminal case document. We only know this information, if it was not available in the case report, from newspaper stories or oral accounts. I am sure the most exciting aspect of his relationship with a desperado was the arrest. When this information is available, I have included it in the text. Many of Reeves's exploits in subduing criminals and who they were, we will never know. My first book generated national interest in Bass Reeves for the first time in history. Hollywood became interested in the Bass Reeves story, and producers and actors who considered development projects included Suzanne DePass, Louis Gossett, Don Johnson, Maury Povich, and Morgan Freeman. As of this date, these projects have not come to fruition. In the spring of 2002, Marlon Edwards produced a small-budget independent movie about Bass Reeves in Oklahoma titled The Black Marshal. Reeves was also featured in a docudrama entitled It Took Brave Men, Deputy U.S. Marshals of Fort Smith, produced by the Fort Smith National Historic Site, National Park Service. He was also briefly discussed in a documentary produced by the History Channel for cable television on the history of the U.S. Marshals Service. Reeves has been featured in several yearly calendars that are distributed nationally. The most prominent publication was the 365 Days of Black History calendar for 2001, in which Reeves was the highlighted personality for the month of February. Bass Reeves was also included in the Lawman of the Old West card game, produced by U.S. Game System, where his image is shown with Wild Bill Hickok on the cover of the box. His image was also included in the historical wall map titled The American West, along with dozens of other frontier heroes and heroines, that was produced by White Mountain Puzzles in 1996.